Level 1. The Candidate. You arrive at Scout Sniper School carrying 60 pounds of gear through Carolina humidity thick enough to feel like breathing through a wet towel. The instructors are already watching, measuring, sorting, judging, placing every candidate into categories you can't see but they can. Potential, marginal, waste of time. No one tells you where you stand. No one tells you anything except where to be and when to move. The attrition rate is 70%. They mention it the first morning like it's just another weather report. 7 out of 10 of you will be gone before the end. Some will quit, some will be cut, some will simply break. Week 1 isn't about shooting, it's stalking. You low crawl through open fields while instructors scan with binoculars. If they see you move, even a flicker, you start over. You build ghillie suits from burlap and local vegetation until you stop looking human and start looking like terrain. You learn to move inches per hour. You learn that patience is more lethal than speed. Around you, candidates disappear in clusters. One quits after a hypothermic night exercise. 2 are cut for safety violations. 1 just vanishes. Bunk stripped, gear turned in, decision made in the dark. You stay, not because you're the best, because leaving never becomes an option in your mind. Mud gets everywhere. Insects crawl across your motionless face. Every failure sends you back to the start. You file each setback somewhere deep, somewhere it can't touch your resolve. This is what you want. This is who you're becoming. The shooting phase arrives and humbles you. You thought you knew rifles. You grew up hunting. You could impress people at civilian ranges. But precision at 1,000 yards is a different universe. Wind doesn't push the bullet. It bends it through invisible layers of shifting air. Gravity isn't a drop. It's a calculated curve. Everything you thought was mastery turns out to be foundation. The final exercise breaks people who survived everything else. 4 days in the field, minimal supplies, stalks under evaluation, scored shots under exhaustion measured in minutes of sleep. Your body stops distinguishing between skin and mud. Your world shrinks to the next task. Some candidates perform perfectly until suddenly they don't. Something inside gives way. They're gone. You make it through because you discover something about yourself. Under pressure, your mind gets quieter. The chaos simplifies instead of expanding. It isn't courage, it's wiring. You graduate in the bottom third of your class. Not impressive, not embarrassing, competent, good enough to move forward. Level 2, the spotter. Your team leader is Staff Sergeant Reyes, 4 deployments deep, eyes that never fully settle in the present. He's killed more people than you've met, and the weight shows in small ways. How he clears rooms, how he sits facing doors. The dreams everyone hears through the barracks walls. You're the junior man. You spot. The shooter pulls the trigger, but the spotter does everything else. Range estimation, wind calls, target confirmation, documentation. You become the shooter's external brain. Your first deployment is to a country you're not supposed to name. The enemy wears no uniform. Threat looks like normal until it doesn't. You learn to read hands, posture, movement patterns that feel just slightly wrong. Your first confirmed kill as a spotter is an RPG gunner. 800 meters. You call the wind. Confirm the target. Watch through glass as the bullet arrives before the sound. One moment the man is aiming. The next moment he isn't alive. You expect something dramatic, triumph, horror, something. Instead, you feel professional satisfaction. Clean shot, valid target, mission success. Reyes watches you carefully, looking for cracks. He's seen new spotters unravel here. You don't. You just move to the next task. Level 3. The Shooter. Reyes rotates home after his 5th deployment, officially for training duty, unofficially because the drinking is no longer subtle and the marriage is already gone. You attend the farewell with complicated emotions. You're the shooter now. Your first primary shot is almost disappointingly routine. 600 meters, steady wind, perfect conditions, impact. The shots that matter come later. A hostage compound in a valley. Intelligence is fresh. Window is narrow. Stakes are absolute. You set up at 1,400 meters, farther than any combat shot you've taken. The wind is unstable, thermal shifting. Your new spotter keeps updating numbers. You wait for hours. At sunset, the window appears. The shot is part math, part instinct, something you couldn't fully explain even if asked. The trigger breaks. The guard drops. 20 minutes later, 3 hostages are on helicopters. This one feels different. Not better, just heavier in a different direction. Level 4, the instructor. You return to the school, this time on the other side. Teaching exposes the gaps in your own understanding. Explaining fundamentals forces you deeper than you ever went as a student. You develop a reputation. Harsh, precise, fair. You learn something important about who succeeds. Not the strongest, not the most naturally gifted. The ones who treat failure as data. But distance from combat changes you. The edge dulls, not in skill, but in something harder to name. You miss the clarity. That's the uncomfortable truth. When the opportunity for another deployment comes, you take it. Level 5, the team leader. The unit is younger now. Different slang, different tech. They call you old man. Your knees predict weather. Your back remembers every bad position. But experience compounds. You make a 1,700-meter shot that becomes legend. The team talks about it for months. You don't correct the exaggerations. Privately, you know the truth. Luck helped. The shot that stays with you isn't the famous one. It's the mistake. Bad intelligence. Perfect trigger press. Wrong man. Cleared by the rules. Cleared by the review board. Not cleared by your own mind. That face stays. And maybe that's necessary, because the ones who feel nothing, those are the ones who scare you. Level 6, the Master. The title isn't official, it just means you lasted. You help test new systems, optics that calculate automatically, rifles that remove human error. But you understand what engineers sometimes don't. The human variable isn't just the problem, it's also the safeguard. Your final deployment is both the easiest and the hardest, because you know it's the last. The final shot is routine, medium distance, standard conditions, professional execution. You don't realize it's the last until you're already on the flight home. 22 years, hundreds of operations. You stopped counting long ago. The rifle goes into a case. The case goes into a closet you rarely open. What you carry home doesn't pack away so neatly, but some people are alive because you were good at something terrible. The math never balances. It never was supposed to. One shot at a time, one breath at a time. The discipline holds. Until it doesn't.